speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, they're the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, right now. They just beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, 27-24, during Week 12 of the 2020 NFL season. And heading into Week 13, I think the Kansas City Chiefs should be your Super Bowl 55 favorites. You know, Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the entire NFL, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, two really good running backs. The wide receiver core is really, really good. You know, Tyreek Hill, he's virtually unstoppable at this point right now. It's hard to cover that guy. Travis Kelce, same thing can be said for him. At the tight end position, they got multiple good weapons for Patrick Mahomes to throw to. Really good offensive line. The defense does worry me a little bit, but for what it's worth, the defense is a top 10 unit in points per game allowed. They're giving up the 6th fewest points on average this season. Now, they will give up yards because right now they're ranked 18th as far as total defense. But it's pretty clear that Kansas City, they're the most talented team in all football as we speak today. However, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers, when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm a tad bit concerned. Just because a lot of people are assuming that the Kansas City Chiefs are locks to win the Super Bowl. And I'm not sure if they're locks to win the Super Bowl like everyone else, you know. I don't see sheer dominance on a consistent basis from the Kansas City Chiefs, you know. And a lot of people can say, well, they dominated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past weekend. Yes, for the most part, they did pretty much dominate the Buccaneers from start to finish. But in the end, I look at the box score, I watched the game, that was a 3-point game. They only won by 3 points. They were 3 points better than a struggling Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Only 3 points better? Not so sure if that's a great sign. You know, the great thing about the NFL is it's not a best of 7 series like in the NBA when it comes to the playoffs. You know, what made the Golden State Warriors dynasty when Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were all going well together, what made them so lethal was you had to beat that team 4 times in a best of 7 series. You had to beat Kansas City 1 time. So that's the key thing. And I think Kansas City can be had on any given Sunday in the playoffs if they face a good team that's focused, that executes at a high level. Keep in mind, Kansas City barely beat the Chargers. They had to go to overtime with Justin Herbert in his first ever start in the NFL. They did dominate the Baltimore Ravens for the most part, but at one point in that game, that was a 7-point game in the fourth quarter. They were not as dominant as you would think versus Baltimore. They struggled versus the Patriots. Patrick Mahomes did not play particularly well. I'd argue that if Cam Newton played in that game, the Patriots probably would have beaten the Chiefs. This Kansas City Chiefs team could have easily lost twice to the Raiders. And keep in mind, folks, the Atlanta Falcons are not a good football team, and they destroyed the Raiders. You barely could beat the Raiders. Also, you barely beat Carolina at home. Barely beat Carolina at home. Carolina is not an elite team by any stretch of the matter, you know? And what concerns me about Kansas City is their run defense. They have the 6th worst run defense in the entire NFL as we speak today. Why is that significant? The best way to beat Patrick Mahomes is to keep the guy off the field. If you can run the football effectively, control the clock, and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, I think you have a good opportunity to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I really think you do have an opportunity to do so, you know? So, listen, man, don't be surprised if a team like the Raiders, the Steelers, or the Buffalo Bills knocks off the Kansas City Chiefs come playoff time. Tennessee matches up pretty well with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Indianapolis Colts, they are a team to look out for just simply because they have the horses on defense to stop Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs if they are at full strength. The Indianapolis Colts, they can just drop 7 people into coverage. They can get home with 4 rushers, and they will force Patrick Mahomes to be patient. And if Patrick Mahomes makes a mistake or two, I'm confident the Colts have the opportunity to capitalize on those mistakes, okay? So, listen, man, I'm not saying Kansas City is overrated. I'm not saying Kansas City is not going to get back to the Super Bowl. All I'm saying is, before you say that Kansas City is a Super Bowl lock, I would pause a little bit because Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, they're pretty good. Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, they're pretty good. Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're pretty good. And any given Sunday, anything can happen. And keep in mind, The Kansas City Chiefs were down double digits in all three of their playoff wins en route to winning the Super Bowl last year. That is not a healthy way to win football games. Usually when you're down 24-0, usually when you're down 10-0, you usually don't come back in some of these playoff games. So Kansas City, congratulations. You came back in those games last year. You won a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is amazing, but that same luck may not bounce your way in the playoffs in 2020. So that's all I'm saying, folks. Despite the Kansas City Chiefs being probably the odds-on favorites to win Super Bowl 55, they are far from a lock to win Super Bowl 55, in my opinion. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.